A 55-10 scoreline might scream domination, but don't let the numbers fool you. This was a tale of grit, guts, and a Georgian side that refused to just roll over. And the Boks, brutal, brilliant, but definitely not a bulletproof. And from debut tries to midfield concerns, we've got a lot to unpack. So let's break it down. So let's start with Georgia. Because, yes, they lost, but they also showed serious fight earlier on. And credit to Vissel, take a bow. I mean, the Georgian number 9 was absolutely electric. His speed, his control at the base, he gave the Springbok more headaches than anyone expected. Even, when the defensive wall was around him, was crumbling. He stayed composed. He kept probing and tried to spark a comeback, that frankly a few teams wouldn't even, attempted against the Springbok. But the Georgians came out physical, aggressive, and for a solid 20 minutes, they looked like they might make this a real contest battle. But their scrum, usually a point of pride, just couldn't hold. A 78% success rate on their own feed, not good enough. And against the Springbok, that's basically an early exit ticket. Now, let's talk about the Boks. I mean, and there's a lot to like here. Bowen Venter, scoring a try on debut. Not a bad way to say hi to the international stage, Props don't usually grab headlines, but Venter made sure that Rassi remembers his name later, later on. But he was a late bloomer, maybe. But this 28-year-old just kickstarted his book journey in style. So what an occasion for Venter. And also Marnus van der Merwe, not one but 2 tries in the first half. Hookers scoring braces is always a vibe. And Marnus, made sure the Springbok hit back hard after going behind early. He was subbed off just after half-time, but his work was already done. And also, we can't forget Edwil van der Merwe. I mean, this guy's on fire. 5 tries in just 3 tests. I mean, he's got that Kobe, Kirtley, DNA, electric, agile, and dangerous. His first try, maybe a forward pass, in the build-up. But his second, pure class, latching onto a perfect chip from Faf de Klerk and sealing the deal. Now, speaking of Faf de Klerk, the blondie bombshell came on around the 60th minute and changed the tempo immediately. I mean, that assist, for Edwell's, second world-class try. I mean, Faf showed why he is the first choice 9 for so long and why he might just be the guy, crawling his way back into that spot. But there's always a but. I know you're probably sick of me being honest, but I'm always honest with my reviews. But not everything was picture perfect for South Africa. Now let's start with Sasha Zulu. Zulu, he had a real chance to take his claim at fly half, but missing 3 out of his 4, first kicks, that's pressure test failed. With Pollard and Liebok, breaking down his neck. I mean, those are the kind of errors that just don't, fly at test level. We had Moody, such a talented, attacker. We know that. But the defense, 4 missed tackles, against Georgia. It didn't cost much, but put the same stat against, big teams like Ireland, France, and, our almighty All Blacks. That's the difference between winning and, walking. But South Africa did what was expected. They blew past Georgia with power, pace, and, with a clinical finish, 55 points on the board, debutantes making a statement. All good things, right? But if you look closer, there are still areas, to sharpen midfield cohesion, defensive discipline, and making sure that the kicking tee isn't, liability and when the game gets tighter. But for Georgia, the scoreboard won't reflect it, but the first half fight deserves respect. They just need a strong set piece to build off. But yeah, credit to the Georgian side. But yeah, final score, Springbok 55-10. South Africa's depth is looking scary, but the top tier games demand perfection. And the Boks still have a few, screws to tighten. So there you have it, guys. That's a quick breakdown of the South Africa versus Georgia. If you enjoy this, don't forget to subscribe for more rugby content and keep supporting your rugby teams and keep the rugby spirit alive. And we will see you in the next video.